Today, we're diving into a dangerous legal shield called judicial immunity and how it's being used to cover up abuse, silence truth tellers, and destroy families.
Stand with me, stand tall for every parent, for us all.
Welcome to Stand with Meg Show, defending parents' rights, protecting children, and giving a voice to the voiceless. I'm your host, Meg, a mother, survivor, and advocate fighting to expose the truth about family courts and to empower parents everywhere. Joining me is Julie Anderson Holburn, founder of Unveiled and Uncensored, a Substack dedicated to exposing systematic betrayal across courts, CPS, law enforcement, and more. Julie is a fierce advocate uncovering the institutional rot behind closed doors. And she's here to speak boldly and bring light where there's been too much darkness. Well, welcome aboard, Miss Julie. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited you're here. And we have talked a little bit on the phone together, and I just loved your stuff. I loved your heart and your passion. So I'm so excited that you were coming on to talk with me today and your passion. First off, how much sleep are you getting these days?
That's what I was going to ask you. I don't even know. I like to get 9, but I'm definitely not getting 9.
You know, it's funny. I used to always need at least 8. But when my kids were little, I could survive off of very little, right? And now I can have 8 because I don't have children, but I hardly can't sleep because the pain and the stress. You get up at 4 a.m. You can't go back to sleep. So it's funny because I actually could finally sleep because don't have my kids, but yet I can't sleep because I don't have my kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know you know that pain.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do. It's awful.
We're going to dig down deep into judicial immunity. Can you what to me what judicial immunity is?
Judges throughout the nation were granted immunity, which is really bizarre to me. What other industry do you know that professionals that have, an impact on the well-being of a child have immunity?
Right.
So judges have judicial immunity. I'm sure it varies in state by state. I'm not an expert. I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. But the problem is that these judges are making orders that are not following the law. They're not in the child's best interest. They're covering up abuse. Mm-hmm. And then you can't go and sue them. The child has suffered immense trauma. Right. Not only that, they're imparting upon therapists and even some minors counsel quasi-judicial immunity, which I don't even know if that's thing.
What is quasi?
Judges will issue quasi-judicial immunity to therapists, evaluators, and minors counsel. Yeah. And that just seems wrong.
Right, which is what I would like to call it actors. The actors in your case,
Yeah.
Players, you can call it actors.
Yeah, I mean, these people, it's the same whether it's juvenile court, probate court, or family court. There are all these actors, court appointed, who just bleed the assets dry and cause insurmountable harm, whether it's an elderly person or a child. And we're talking about family court today. Right. And a lot of children across America are being harmed by these outrageous orders that don't have anything to do with the best interest of the child or their safety or law.
Yeah, right. Tell me a little bit about what you wrote about on Substack. Tell me why you got into this passion and pretty much what is your heart of it?
Sure. I appreciate that. I'm a victim of Arizona Family Court, and I'm a victim of Orange County, California Family Court. My first marriage, I had 3 children, and I had to go through the Arizona court, which is why I went and spoke at the Arizona Ad Hoc Committee. One of the first 2 sessions. And my middle son, he did a written testimony and submitted it to the panel. And it was pretty disturbing. And it had to do with Dr. Lavitt and a lot of abuse being covered up.
Who's Dr. Lavitt in your case?
Dr. Lavitt was the 730 evaluator, and that is who Kristen Alcott mentored under. And if you've watched the Arizona Ad Hoc Committee hearing, I think it was the second one where she spoke, and she's linked to a lot of really bad decisions that have affected a lot of Arizona families. So I had to live through that. I don't talk about this very often, and my son did talk about it in his written testimony to the committee. But there was a huge social smear campaign about me personally as a woman and a mother that was so detrimental that I could almost not function. And it was so horrific. And it came into my court case and then followed me to California. And it was so devastating to me socially in the court and to my children, because it wasn't just said to me or to people around town. It was told to my children, to the point that my daughter had a breakdown. And it was just really horrific stuff. So I survived that. And then I remarried, and I wasn't supposed to be able to have any more children. I'd had numerous miscarriages. I got remarried, and I had 2 miracle babies, and in a very short time period.
Aww.
And yeah, and
you had 3 in Arizona, and then you had 2 miracle babies.
Yes.
So you have 5 kids like me?
Yes.
5 club.
That's my lucky number.
There you go.
Yeah, they're the loves of my life. So I had 2. My last 2 were 12 months and 10 days apart, and in that process, the marriage deteriorated really quickly. I really didn't know who I was marrying. I thought I was, but see, I was very transparent. The other person was not.
Right. Sounds like my marriage, my only marriage. That one. Yep.
He comes from a family of lawyers. Very powerful lawyers. For a long time in Orange County, I had a decent judge. It wasn't the greatest. It wasn't like everything was in my favor, but he made decent orders when you looked at the law. They could have been a lot safer, written a lot better and a lot safer, more protection for the children and I. But then being the person that I am, because I stand up for kids and the elderly and animals, there were things that happened when we moved back to California. I'm from Orange County, California. One of the first things was, I was after my ex-husband took the kids out of the state numerous times. I had to get a warrant to take physical custody. So things like that were happening with the second husband, and I got sole legal and physical custody and a restraining order, enrolled the kids in kindergarten. And that's when the next nightmare began, because I filed for an IEP. And when I did that, they retaliated against me. And an IEP is an independent education plan, and that has to do with money, right? I didn't know it at the time, but they were already colluding with my ex-husband, and I had to file. Thanks. Newport Mesa Unified School District.
The school partnered with your ex.
Yes.
Okay. When you were asking for your child to get some help with their education?
Yeah, I had a good idea that my daughter was dyslexic. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm a mom of 5 kids. I kind of know a thing or two about kids. Yeah. And of course, they didn't like that. They started retaliating and threatening me. It was wildly unbelievable how aggressive and retaliatory they were. When we subpoenaed them for communication between them and my ex-husband and anything to do with my family, it got worse. And they tried to fight the subpoena for a couple of years. And then, we found out that they were communicating with him at a time when, I had sole legal and physical custody and a restraining order.
So you got full and legal custody with your 2 younger ones?
I did.
Wow. You did, but then
then it started. First it was the school district because I filed for an IEP.
So he sounds like my ex that just did anything he could to try to sabotage the order in place.
Oh yeah. There was so much. So there was the IEP, and it went all the way to the Office of Administrative Hearings, which is the judicial body that governs education in California. I won 2 lawsuits against the school district.
Wow.
They were found to be colluding with my ex-husband and denied us a FAPE and violated our civil rights. That pissed off the powers that be in Newport Beach, California. So I got a name there for myself and a target on my back.
So you're battling family court, and then you have a lawsuit in, and then you had multiple lawsuits in. You won 2, and then you had to settle on the other one. And then, my word, and you have 5 children? Sorry, I just had to digest all that. Okay,
and a dog and a cat.
A dog and a cat. Okay, woo! All right, now you're a family.
And then somewhere in all of that, COVID hits, right? And I start getting harassed by a couple of, Newport Beach police and a couple of Orange County District Attorney people. And it's all in my Welcome to Substack article. So I was told by my mold attorney that the reason my family law case was tanking all of a sudden, and they were threatening to take my children away, and they were they actually put me on monitored visitation. I was a mother who had sole legal and physical custody for like 9 years. And all of a sudden I'm a parental alienator because I did a GoFundMe asking for help with legal fees. Because at the same time, I met Mike Volpe, who wanted to write on my story. So he published a couple articles. I was a parental alienator because of that. So they started taking my kids. I was kind of a different person than I didn't understand. I knew family court wasn't good, but I had no idea how bad it was. And then it got really bad. They started taking my kids from me on temporary orders. My ex-husband escalated in his violence towards the children and I. He began strangling my son and withholding food and water to the point my son looked like he came out of a death camp. He was...
How old was your son at that time?
2020. So he was probably like 12 or 13.
Wow.
Yeah. And, there's medical documents, pictures, video, police reports.
No one cared.
They didn't care. Yeah, it was really, really, really scary. I mean, I was terrified with what was going on. And then the police acting on behalf of him, showing up at my home one morning that we're supposed to have this ex-parte hearing. Because not only did his abuse escalate, he actually withheld the children, which led to a situation in March of 2021 where he assaulted the children as they were trying to run to me when they saw me in a public space. And then he chased and attacked us down a city block. It's still something that's very difficult for me to talk about, but, they covered all of it up. There was body cam, there was video, there were eyewitnesses, just so much. And they just covered it all up and wrote it up as a strong arm robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I cannot, it's literally unbelievable. They took my kids.
Yeah, I was saying, what's the ending of the story?
When they took my kids, they used that, said I was a parental alienator, and he flipped custody to the documented abuser, long documented abuser.
Right.
And I was put on monitored visitations until I couldn't afford it anymore. I told him I just, I've been battling this person since 2010.
Oh, well, yeah, and I feel that. Right.
It's 2022. I don't have any more money. He's on his 25th attorney. I can't keep up with his $40,000 retainer attorneys. And I did monitored visitation as long as I could. Glowing reports. They're begging to come back home. Didn't care about the monitored visitation reports. And, I haven't seen my kids since Mother's Day 2 years ago, and I've been back in court and they've retaliated. Most recently, they issued a DVRO against me because I wrote a domestic violence restraining order.
Wow.
And their exhibits were my articles. And because I wrote on a couple moms who withheld their children, one went up to Canada, fleeing safety from the same Orange County District Attorney's office.
Julie,
who
right?
has a...
Is that Julie?
Tawny.
Okay. Yeah.
Tawny. And I wrote on Julie Valadez as well.
Okay, yeah.
And so those articles were exhibits to support their DVRO, and that because I wrote on a couple of moms who, Julie didn't withhold her child. Tawny withheld her child because there was significant allegations of child sexual abuse and other abuse. And so because I wrote on them, therefore, that gave them the fear that I would abduct my children. And that was the grounds for issuing a DVRO. Oh, and someone else's X posting, somebody else posted my article on X. That was another exhibit. And I was at a political rally, a Trump rally, and I had a sign that said Justice for Julie. And somebody posted that on X. And that was another one of their exhibits.
It's so crazy you say that because, I don't know if you know this, and I don't talk about it much, and I should, but when my kids were taken, CPS said that I was a great mom, and they had no idea why they were taken, and all the accusations were completely false. And they told the GAL, and they still did it, right? But what's funny is since I started being loud, right, and being public with it, I haven't seen my kids in over a year. I go to DC because I'm like, I'm just going to go to DC and change this. On the way home from DC, I get a call from CPS. My first ever substantial that I abuse my children because of my social media. So same thing.
Yeah.
And I laugh. I haven't seen my kids for a year. How do I know it's affecting them? How do you know? And same thing.
That's total. I mean, I apologize to anybody listening, but that is such bullshit. To say that your social media is, they're substantiating that as a claim of legitimate domestic or child abuse is absurd. And that's just what they're doing to shut protective parents up.
Right.
And they're, because that's what they want you to do, is to be scared, silent.
Right.
And we can't do this anymore.
Right. Just like yours. And that's why our stories are so similar. But that's why, I'm speaking out, you're writing, and we are all coming together and saying enough is enough.
Well, yes. And that. So that is what, I guess I went a little long there, but that's why I started writing. Originally, I was going to be an advocate. I was talking at the Capitol. I was taking classes to become an advocate. I'm like, I'm not having a big enough impact. And I felt God, put it on my heart to write. Right. And so I started apprenticing under another journalist out of Sacramento. We shared a byline for a while, and then I started writing, and people just started coming to me. Whistleblowers, professionals, victims, adult child victims, teenagers from all over the country. And I wish I had a team of people to help me write more and get more out. But it's definitely ruffling some feathers, my articles. And I'm happy that that's happening, because this is grotesque. It needs to stop. And we need juries, and we need cameras in courts, and no more judicial immunity, no more quasi-judicial immunity.
Yep. And I think that's what, when people realize, so two things. I want you to tell an average parent that thinks this could never happen to me. That would never happen to me. I am the best parent in the world. What would you say to them?
Oh, it will. It will. Whether you have money or not, they will figure out who the protective parent is. If there's any type of abuse, they will figure out who the protective parent is, and they will put custody with the abusive parent, because they know, whether you're a mom or a dad, if you're a protective parent, you will beg, borrow, and steal and find every last bit of money you can to put into that fight to get those children back and safely back to you. And that's the model. Like, that's what they're looking for.
Exactly.
Because they know, even if you don't have money, you'll find it.
Yep.
Or they think you will.
Right. And you'll do everything. And so when you found your gift that God wanted you to go to expose this, that same with me, what is the best advice you would give somebody to figure out a way to maybe not be as loud as you or I am, but what is the best thing someone can do that's maybe going through this, or maybe not going through this, well, I think it would be like someone going through it, right? What can they do to find their gift, to find their voice, to find what they should do to fight this? What do you think, in your opinion? Like, when you're sitting there, you know how you sat there and you're like, I want to scream, I want to be an advocate. What really made you step back and go, okay, this is where I need to be?
Well, okay. First, it goes back to 1998 when I was going through my first divorce, and I verbally wrestled with God, if you can imagine a Job. And I'm like, why? Why me? All I ever wanted to be was a mom. And plain as day, the message was, at some point in time, you will be the hand in the gap on a one-on-one basis and on a national basis. And I was like, you're crazy. I'm just a mom. I go to Costco, I go to Walmart, I go to Target. And then every, I don't know, year or two or something, it was that same type of check-in. And, I fully believe that the path that I was on led me to where I am. And I would say for anybody else, really quiet your life and listen to what his prompting is, and what is put upon your heart. Don't dismiss it and be like, oh, that's a crazy thought. When you have something put upon your heart that you should do something, even if it's to write a letter to somebody or to contact a legislator,
do it, right?
or to go to court with a neighbor, or if you are family members and you have somebody going through divorce, don't second guess them. Go to court and participate, because the more eyes, and that could be a gift, just going and supporting your family members who are going through this horror that is family court. And then obviously anybody else, just whatever gifts, whatever natural talent you have, use it and don't wait, because, every day a child, multiple children, are harmed. And so we need everybody on board and using their gifts, whatever they are, even if it's just their voice, even if it's sharing
somebody's story, sharing
on social media.
Yeah, I always tell people the first thing, I learned this right when my kids were taken. Every morning I'd wake up and I would scream bloody murder. You wake up and you're like, is this true? Is this really happening? Are they really gone? Is my house really quiet? And that feeling. And a lot of us know that feeling. But I would just wake up and scream. And my girlfriend, she's not a snuggler, but she slept in bed with me just because she was really worried about me. And I'd wake up and I would just scream. And finally that got better. But then she goes, you know what, Megan? What was the first thing that you think of when you wake up? Because God's telling you to do something.
Yeah. So
she started doing that with me. She started saying, what is he telling you to do? And I said, not give up, keep fighting. And then it changed. And so now it's like,
sorry.
No, yeah. Go ahead.
I couldn't get out of bed. I don't know. It was like 6 or 7 months. That was all I could do to just, go brush my teeth. And I actually somehow fell into the true crime online community, and that kind of helped me. But it was so debilitating not having them.
Yeah, and I didn't want to go into this crying, but sometimes it's okay for people to realize it can happen to anybody, and
it can.
Stands the pain of building a home up, having your children for so many years and long and hours, and then all of a sudden the house is quiet.
Yeah, and you don't know where they are or how they are. Mm-hmm. And in my case, in a lot of parents' cases, there was somebody who's abusive, and the damage is being done to them, and it's horrific.
Yeah, it is. And then they're playing with our children's minds, because I always say, I will be okay. I know I'm getting through it, right? But the damage they done to a little kid, you think about being a 10-year-old little girl like my twins and going to school and saying goodbye to your mom and never seeing them again I didn't even be able to talk to them for 11 months. And I know your kids feel that, but the damage to children is tremendous.
Yeah. So. Well, not only that, in my particular case, because police got involved, a couple of dirty cops to help my ex-husband, and it just was mind-boggling. I was like, do we live in America? Like, this is absurd. Yeah. It's insane.
It is. No, anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go down that route, but
no, it's
that's one thing. It's just no one gets it until you do go through it. And I pray the Lord we get this stopped and change this. So anyway, well, I really appreciate all your articles and all your work you're doing and your power and your strength. And I'm going to pray for you. And we will get it figured out.
You as well, and your incredible energy. And I mean, just your heart, your passion. I think it comes through, and that's why people, are drawn to you. And thank you for having the courage to do what you're doing, because it's scary, to make because you've made yourself a target, but that's what it's going to take. It's going to take some brave people, to make this change, so they cannot ignore it anymore.
And I will say, we are getting louder. Have you seen that? Like, I've seen so many more people speaking out.
Yes.
And I'm so happy for that. So where can people support you? How can people support you and connect with you?
I'm on Substack under Julie M. Anderson Holburn. You could do a free subscription. You could do a paid subscription. At the end of all my articles is my email. If you are a whistleblower or an impacted parent, please email me. My link tree is also on there. So if you want to make a donation, you could do that too. And of course, share the articles online, leave comments, share the podcasts on This Is For Real and Stand With Meg.
And I wanted to share, if this hit you guys at all, her story, a little bit of mine, share it. Please share her stuff. Share her information. We're trying to get this legislator to change this. And if we have to show them this is a systematic problem, meaning so thousands and millions of problems. So please share it. Connect with us. We got to stand together, defend our rights, our children's rights, and take back our kids. It should not be a pay-to-play system, period.
Yeah. And there's a lot of discourse in the movement, and we need to set that aside, and we need to do what's right by the children.
Amen.
And we need to have a united front and voice saying, no more.
No more.
This ends now.
I like that. Well, thank you so much. You're amazing, Julie.
Thank you, Meg. So are you.
Thank you for joining the Stand with Meg show. Tune in next time. I'm excited to have all these people come on. We have a great lineup. Have a great day and see ya.